Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics with your Proof Daily NFT Countdown, bringing you the charts, the pictures, and stories that matter most in NFTs every single day. Starting off with a quick market overview. Overall volumes were up, and we're going to be talking about punks a bunch today. This was largely because of CryptoPunks. Wrap CryptoPunks did a ton of trades. The price really tanked, but the volumes were quite high. If you look at volume market share, again, totally in Blur's camp over the past week, something like 80% of ETH volume has been on Blur. A lot of that airdrop farming, though, really in excess, I think particularly with Wrap CryptoPunks. Unique buyers were down a fair bit. Volumes were high, but it was really these high ETH transactions, so you didn't get as many unique buyers. Unique buyers really kind of at a multi-month low, something like a 4 or 5 month low, other than the day after SVB news broke. That was the one day we had lower unique buyers. In terms of prices, we were down a fair bit again, but this was almost entirely because of punks. The punk floor went from something like 74 to 65 ETH. That's the second biggest component in the large cap index. The projects that have been pretty weak lately, Doodles, Moonbirds, Clones, were pretty much flat to up a small bit. In terms of punk, just looking at this chart here, you can see it just kind of puts that move into perspective. We had a nice little climb and then it all came tumbling down yesterday. Now, one of the things I like to look at is, are traders profitable? Particularly on Blur, where so much of this volume is airdrop farming. Are those traders actually making money? And yesterday was one of the first profitable days for flippers in about 2 weeks. You can see here that they had a slight profit. That was largely because people actually who sold the top for punks got a lot of liquidity and made a fair bit of ETH, but that has ripple effects. The people who ended up buying from them are already down about 1,000 ETH today, and the day is not over quite yet. In terms of mid caps, pretty much flat on that index, a bunch of strength in crypto dick butts, but then weakness in VV checks and Valhalla. Just looking a little bit more at VV checks, the price of VV checks has just pretty much gone down this whole month. You can see there really is a fair bit of negative momentum there right now. Pepin is the same way. These have been some of the best stories of the year. Really had massive runs in January, February, but giving back a fair bit of those gains recently. Then Valhalla, kind of an interesting story here. Floor price fell a little bit, but they announced yesterday that they were doing clans. And the basic idea behind clans is trying to incentivize owners of different traits to form clans and to keep the prices high for their clan, get people to get involved in their clan, do things as a clan. Digging a little bit more into the details here, the clans are based on the traits of the Valhallas that you own. They're going to put $25,000 of the next month's royalties, and the winner is going to get a majority of that $25,000 into a DAO, I believe, for that trade clan to do what it wants with that money. The clan success, who's going to get that $25,000? It's based on the floor price of the trade. Also net worth, a term they use, which I'm not exactly sure what it means, as well as other aspects of the trade. And I think the basic idea here is they want to reward the folks who are promoting their NFT, who are promoting the traits. If you're doing it, give back some of the royalties from those trades to the clan so that, those little DAOs that form around them can do cool things and continue to promote the project. In terms of art, there are actually a fair bit of decent sized trades here. 6 projects did more than 10 ETH of volume in the art world. There were 4 art block sales I wanted to mention. One was a Fidenza, which sold for 85 ETH. This is a pretty nice sale relative to about a 65 ETH floor. Those other 3, in the upper right, we have a Ringer, we have a Gazer in the lower left, and then an Archetype. These were all a fair bit below floor, sellers accepting ETH bids. And these trades actually were at lows relative, pretty much like 4 to 12 month lows, depending on the project. The Ringer for 32 ETH, a Gazer's for 15, and an Archetype for 13. One project just to call out was V1 Punks had a bit of a rally. You can see there, floor price yesterday was around 3.8, kind of rallied up to 6, settled around 5 ETH. I think Franklin and a lot of the airdrop farmers got pretty active there, really tried to push it up again. It has 0% royalty, makes it a little bit better for airdrop farming. And also on the back of the punk strength, I think you can tell a decent V1 Punks narrative. Second story to talk about, CryptoPunk seller drops 65 punks, sells 65 punks in one swing. Wasn't just that person, another person at the same time. So somewhere between 30 and 35 punks. So you had about 100 punk sales in 10 minutes. Pretty unprecedented for CryptoPunks. Just looking at kind of what set the stage for this. And we talked about this yesterday and kind of how there was a little bit of vulnerability here. Over the past 10 days, ever since Blur basically started trading Wrap CryptoPunks, we've seen a gradual buildup where the floor price has steadily gone from 65 to 75 ETH. Then yesterday, 100 sales all at once, and it all completely came undone. Floor price went from 75 to call it 64 pretty much over the course of an hour or something like that. Now, this is the slide I showed you yesterday. And what I showed was that over the past week, you had a few airdrop farmers, and I put the wallets here, had really been amassing a pretty big bag of CryptoPunks. Okay. One at 50 just over the past week, and had bought more in the week prior, one with 30, 28. And again, they had been buying more for a little bit longer than 1 week. So these bags got really big, while the long-term holders were the ones who had been selling. Now, if you look at these biggest players from yesterday, let's take it forward one day. Over the past 24 hours, the main person sold 64 CryptoPunks. The next sold 34, 33, and 3. So these airdrop farmers who got really long, prices got high, huge bid wall started to form around 74. Because again, with airdrop farming on Blur, you are incentivized to put a bid as close to the floor price, especially on high volume projects that have high floor prices. So people were really enticed in to putting in a lot of bids around 73, 74 ETH. And these airdrop farmers who had gotten long a lot of punks took advantage of that and sold all their punks into those walls. Okay. Those guys end up, the guys who end up buying end up needing to sell because they don't want to be long 70 CryptoPunks themselves, and you get this chain reaction where prices go lower and lower. This is a pretty tough chart to understand, but what I wanted to look here was at the top person, the one who sold 64 punks. How did he do this? What was kind of his gradual process? And you can see it goes all the way back to March 8th. So a couple weeks ago, every red bar there is a time where he bought a CryptoPunk. Every yellow bar is a time where he sold a CryptoPunk. And then that blue line is how many that person is long. And you can see that kind of steadily they built up their position more and more and more. And then yesterday just dumped everything at that 75 ETH price. In terms of their P&L, this was a pretty profitable trade for this person. Went up 391 ETH over the course of this process. Not bad, for 12 days of trading CryptoPunks, ended up 391 ETH. In terms of who did the buying, again, and this is the third time this has happened in size, Machi Big Brother was the person who got stuffed with a massive bag of CryptoPunks. He ended up net long 98 CryptoPunks yesterday. Why am I talking about it like it's kind of like this again thing? If you look at Machi Big Brother's P&L ever since Airdrop Season 2 began, and P&L, I mean their profit and loss, you can see that pink arrow is when Machi Big Brother got stuffed with a ton of Bored Apes, and then at 78 ETH and had to sell them at 60 ETH, lost 2,000 ETH on that. The turquoise arrow is when Machi Big Brother lost a ton of ETH on Gitcoin Presents. Now P&L currently is around negative 3,500 ETH. This guy has lost 3,500 ETH in the past month, and then he got stuck doing the exact same thing that lost him all that money before, and now he's long 98 CryptoPunks. And I'm sure that we are going to see that happen more and more. I mean, not more and more, but I'm sure he's going to have to sell these, most of them, at a 5, 6, 7 ETH loss. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out. For the airdrop farmers, they just want to have ETH, because when you have ETH, that's when you can put in tons of bids across the board. So Machi Big Brother will be incentivized, I believe, to sell these CryptoPunks before too long. We'll see what happens. Will be interesting to see how it plays out. In both of the other cases, he did wait a couple days. So who knows, if he's going to come right out to market or how he's going to sell them, or if he will at all, but I would imagine he would. Last thing to talk about is a few notable sales in the marketplace, starting first with this Pudgy Penguin, sold for 40 ETH. It has gold skin, and it has that hat that has the igloo, the Pudgy logo. I'm not totally sure, but generally speaking, merch tends to trade at a little bit of a premium. So I think maybe that combination is what led to this selling for such a premium. It was actually the most expensive gold skin Pudgy Penguin sale that I could find on record. We've had a couple sales in the past, well above 25 ETH, but never anything at 40 ETH. Here you see 4 different Pudgy Penguins, which have sold for 26 to 36 ETH. But again, this was the all-time high for the trade. Second sale to talk about, this piece, Skeleton Key by Cowboy Killer, sold for 10 ETH. Really cool ambiance, interesting mood to this image. I read the description that Cowboy Killer put for this piece, and he basically said they had a teacher in high school, when he was struggling with school, failing out of class, and that teacher said, you are a smart person. Someone just convinced you along the way you couldn't succeed. And he really, the artist really remembers that teacher as the person who gave him the key to his success. And the key was understanding that art was really the place and the way that he expressed himself. So really kind of a personal description for this piece. Awesome to see that it sold for 10 ETH. A little bit about the artist's prior sales. This artist, this was really just a massive all-time high for this artist. Cowboy Killer has had sales at in the 2 to 3.5 ETH range. This piece in the upper right here, 3.3, I believe had been the prior high just from looking on Super Rare. So to go from that to 10 ETH is really just a huge jump up. huge congratulations to the seller, huge congratulations to the buyer. Very cool to see this. And then the last piece to talk about is this called the Muse by ACK, Alpha Centauri Kid, sold for 23.95 ETH. This is a very unique piece though, because it really is not an NFT. It's actually a physical print that will be delivered to the buyer. And then the NFT is just a certificate of authenticity. If you look at ACK, one of the first NFT artists to have a huge physical sale that sold on Christie's. Here is basically the piece of the lot. You can see that it sold for $107,000. This piece was called the Muse, almost double the high end of what the estimate was on that Christie's auction. So in response to that, ACK is doing these sales through AOTM of these 3 silkscreen prints. I say there are 3 because you can see in this image that there's a green, a blue, and a red one. It was only the red one that sold today. But going a little bit into more detail, they claim the price is $69,000 US dollars per print. This one sold a fair bit below that. It's something like 44,000. So maybe there is a little bit of flexibility around that. And again, each one is 30 by 40 inches, comes with a custom frame inside, but really interesting to see kind of AOTM and the NFT space also going into that physical space. That's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did like it, give us a like below. Give us a comment in the bottom. Tell us what we can do better. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all that. It really helps us a lot. We'll see you tomorrow with another show. Have a great day.